Well, hey, how you doing? Just wanted to jump on here and do a quick little Bible study with you about humility. And humility is one of those things that is such a hallmark of Christianity and being a Christian and who God is. And I think it's also one of those things that's, gosh, it's both really simple and also kind of hard to understand. I've been walking with Jesus my whole life, and I'm still learning all the time about what humility even is according to God. But one of the verses that I always come back to is Philippians 2. And I think that this is such a helpful way to understand humility because it's humility through the example of Jesus and his life. So let's talk about humility for a second, what it is, what it isn't, and how we can be more humble. Because I think, in a world that is so prideful, because pride is the root of all sin, humility is so important in being God's people because humility is so different to the way that the world works. Humility is the way that God works. Humility is it's the character of Christ. I mean, there's only really one time in the Bible that Jesus describes his own personality, who he is, what he's like, and he chooses to say, I am humble and meek, or humble and lowly and meek. And so this is a huge part of who Jesus is in himself, and we want to be like him, right? So we would do well to understand what it is. Let me read to you from Philippians 2. It's really simple. It says this: do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. So do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Wow, that's a big claim, right? Do nothing. Not a single thing out of selfish ambition. Or in other words, don't do anything because I'm trying to elevate myself out of ambition that only benefits me. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, value other people above yourself. And this is really the key to humility, right? Valuing other people above ourselves. And Jesus, it actually goes on and it talks about who Jesus is in exactly this way. In verse 6 it says, Jesus Christ, who being in very nature God, so as high as you can go, did not consider equality with God to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself. Humility is something that we choose to do. Interestingly, humility is, I don't think, a fruit of the Spirit. I might be wrong on that one. So let me just fact check myself here. Galatians 5. And this is really interesting. If humility isn't a fruit of the Spirit, then it means that we have to do it. It means it's something that we have to choose to do. No, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Humility is a choice from us. It doesn't come as a gift from God, which is why we are commanded to humble ourselves, right? It's a choice that we do in choosing other people over ourselves. So Jesus Christ, it says there, he humbled himself even to the point of death, even death on a cross. Therefore, God has highly exalted him to the highest place, right? So Jesus, we have this amazing example of as high as you can go, right? Equal with God. He is God. He chose not to use equality with God to his own advantage. Rather, he chose to humble himself to the lowest possible position, which is death, even death on a cross. And in this, Jesus is an example for us, right? That in every single instance, we should be thinking, how can I elevate the other person? How can I lower myself and bolster them up? How can I put them before me, their ambitions before me, their interests before me? And you know what? This is the kingdom way. It's extremely challenging because we're not looking to our own interests. We're not looking to further our own career in that moment our own ambitions, our own financial wealth, our own comfort, our own nothing. It's how can I serve this person out of humility, lowering myself, and in so doing, elevating them. So I think a helpful way to think about humility is just that. This person in front of me, or these people in front of me, how can I do something that's for their benefit over my benefit? How can I give up what I've got, whether it be status, position, comfort, money, whatever it is, to serve that person? That is the Jesus example of humility. So much more to it than that. I don't want to say that this is all humility is, but I think it's a helpful way we can understand it. Anyway, I hope that blessed you guys, and as God's people, let's be humble. I mean, this changes the world because it's so countercultural. This is how one of the main ways the kingdom of God is shown to the world, through a humble, lowly, and meek people that don't look to our own interests, but the interests of others, like Jesus. Love you guys. See you next week.